Uhler and Moats are on the air. This is the Steelers Blitz on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. SNR, Steelers Nation Radio.
What's going on, Steelers Nation Radio? It is high noon on a Thursday afternoon. That can only mean one thing. It's time to go inside the Electric Factory here in the 24/7 home of the black and gold. Wes Uhler, Arthur Moats, you already know the drill. It's the Steelers Blitz on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network, and we are Arthur Moats, 1 week away from the opening of the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. How we feeling, partner?
Man, it's exciting. You know, I'm always big on just the next thing, evolution. We're here, and now we've finally transitioned to the next stage. Everybody wants to rush it, but no, don't rush it. It'll get here when it's supposed to. And we about a week away, so yeah, man, I'm loving it. But I say this is how it's supposed to be, though, man. You enjoy the up and down of roster building. Free agency, draft, free agency again. So right now, we at that draft stage, is getting right to the edge of it while we still have some free agency, loose ends we got to get situated sooner rather than later. But as a whole, yeah, I'm loving it, man. What about you?
Yeah, I am too. I do like hypothetical season in this time of year. This does get to be about the point where I'm like, let's get the draft done. You know, like let's do it here. I want like something real tangible to talk about. All these new draft picks and everything, and you know too.
Look. Hey, some people need answers.
I need answers. Well, it's just like
some people need answers, man. I get it. I'm like, I love it.
It's like the build up to Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, you know, there's going to be presents under that tree. You know, you're going to get something new. You kind of waiting to see what it is. And that is obviously where we are now. So today will be a pretty draft centric, draft focused show as we are a week out here right now. Like I said, from the first round. The Steelers' 21st overall pick, if they do indeed stay there with no movement. So today will be a draft-heavy show. We will get to some of your tweets, as always, in the second hour of the program. Before we close it down for the week, we will round out with your participation, question, comments, concerns, reactions, criticism, thoughts, anything and everything. As always, you know where to get at us on Twitter, on X, at Wesley Uhler, at TheBody52.
The Body.
And Mozi, we will do some mock draft stuff of our own here on the program today. But this morning, you know, the savvy news hound that I am, I'm on the prowl, right?
Hey now, he's on the prowl.
I'm on the prowl. Dropped the girls off at daycare. Had some stuff that I had to get done this morning, some errands and all those things. And then I get home, I'm having my coffee, I'm having my breakfast, and I'm like, what are myself and Arthur Moats going to talk about today? And so I'm clicking on NFL.com, ESPN, seeing what everyone's talking about, seeing what all the latest is, all those different things. And I noticed, of course, mock drafts front and center. I mean, they have been for a couple weeks, couple months now, but certainly now as we are again a week away. And so I'm like, all right, I want to see where we're at, what everyone's saying, both as it relates to the Steelers and as it relates to just the bigger picture, because we know those things are obviously intertwined. The Steelers will have to wait until 20 other players are unavailable for them to select before they can make their decision. And one thing that I noticed with the first thing I should say that I noticed with both the NFL.com and ESPN most recent mock drafts is, and I liked the balance of this too, I want to note the ESPN one was a compilation of, let's see here, how many? I don't know if there's an exact number. 10. Okay. 10 anonymous scouts from around the league. So 10 scouts, one from each division, and then a couple extras. And then they kind of did a consensus of what they thought the mock draft would be. What I noticed about both of these, here's where I'm going with all this. Land the plane, Uhler. This is a very long-winded wind up here, all right?
You're good, man. You're good.
On the NFL.com mock that was more from an analyst standpoint, and on the ESPN one that was 10 anonymous scouts from around the NFL, Arthur Moats, they both currently have the same top three. Okay.
Okay.
And that is the Tennessee Titans selecting quarterback Cam Ward out of Miami. The Cleveland Brands, boo, selecting Travis Hunter, wide receiver / defensive back / Heisman winner out of Colorado. And then Abdul Carter, stud edge rusher from right up the road in Happy Valley State College, Penn State, going third overall to the Giants. That is what both the analysts on the NFL Network, NFL.com side have, and that is what the 10 anonymous scouts, what their kind of consensus was as well, too. And I think we can all see that happening. But I ask you here as you sit here today, do you think that is likely to play out? It feels like the needs are kind of slotted there and where these teams want to pick, but how confident would you say you are to 40%, 50%, 60%, maybe more, maybe less, that will be the top three on Thursday night?
I'll say 80%. And the only reason I say that is because I'm not overthinking it. Everybody in terms of Tennessee's camp says they want quarterback. They're going to do whatever to get quarterback. They are excited about the arm talent that Cam Ward plays with. So that's why they're going to go with him. Is it a great pick? I think it's more lukewarm than anything, but I think a lot of these quarterbacks specifically are going to give you more of that the earlier you taking them, because this is what we do. We lie to ourselves about quarterbacks, act like they're gods, and we say this draft is mediocre because what? We don't have a plethora of quarterbacks that are elite, so we downplay this draft class. Oh, you know how that goes. So that's why I'm like, yeah, the Titans are going to take Cam Ward. They'll probably be back in this position a couple of years from now, and it is what it is. I do think that Cleveland should and will take Travis Hunter, just because they need a quarterback. But once again, are you about to draft Shedeur Sanders at 2 overall? Like, at what point are we going to say, like, man, these players are just better players for their position versus I need this position.
Need a quarterback,
so,
need a quarterback.
So that's why I'm like, Travis Hunter. If not, then they'll be firing some more people in Cleveland and they'll be back in this position another time 2 years from now. You know how they do. Mm-hmm. Giants, man. Giants are interesting just because people want to lie to themselves and say that, yeah, they will still take a quarterback with them signing Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston and knowing that Brian Daboll is on the absolute hot of hot seats right now.
Yes.
But yeah, let me go ahead and waste the third overall pick on a quarterback that probably wouldn't beat out Jameis Winston year one. And we're going to say, hey, beat out Jameis and Russell Wilson. And you're not going to have a nice high-end weapon to use, whether that's on offense or on defense. Don't overthink that, man. Abdul Carter is your answer right there. And if Cleveland were to go Abdul Carter, then Travis Hunter is your answer right there. You really can't go wrong in that spot if you're the Giants, unless you draft a quarterback when you just signed 2 quarterbacks and you know I'm on 1 year right now.
Right.
If Brian Daboll had just got there, different conversation. Shedeur, I think, really does come into the fold, but I also don't think they handle free agency the way that they did getting Jameis and Russ. But when you think about from Brian Daboll's standpoint, do you want to put your livelihood? Because that's the thing, right? We speak as fans, we're speaking as media, we're speaking as people that have no real life impact of what happens on the field in terms of our day-to-day lives. When the Steelers lose, we pout, we talk bad, we say fire these people, but guess what? You still gonna go to your job every single day. You still gonna have your food on the table and nothing changes. When these guys make bad decisions, their livelihood is impacted. They no longer get to just go live at their house. They no longer get to go stay at the same school district. They no longer get to just say, oh yeah, we're gonna pay this. So it matters a lot more. And yeah, you gotta be a lot more, intentional in particular and really, really locked in on some of these picks. And I just don't see Brian Daboll wanting to risk that on some like, hey, down the line, this could work out. I don't see him wanting to do that. I think, man, for him, he needs a guy, whether that's on offense or defense, but he needs somebody that can come in and be one of the top 5 best players on his team. Like, that's the type of thing that they need right now. So, yeah, that's why I say it's like that, man. I say 80%. Obviously, things could change. Cleveland has done some very non-smart things before, hence the reason why they haven't had the same GM and head coach for longer than 5 years.
Right.
It's no secret. The Giants, they have done some stuff that is not traditionally associated with successful moves. It's the reason why they've also had what? Different GMs and different head coaches also within the past 5 years. So I'm not putting anything past these guys, man. As much as I would love to say it's a foregone conclusion, there are some non-wise individuals that are in some positions of power that just don't always make the best decisions. All right. So I don't have a lot of faith in those teams, but hopefully they can't mess this up. Hopefully.
I think that's all well said by you. I especially that part on the Giants, like that, like Brian Dable knows he's got to win, I would say at least 9 games this year, but probably 10 and find his way into a wild card spot in a division that just had the 2 teams in the NFC Championship game, mind you, as well too. Like
a lot of talent in that division right now, man. A lot of talent, a lot of quarterback play.
I got no doubt, and like that's not including the Cowboys, who, despite taking a step back last year, still have a very talented roster, and 3 of the last 4 years have won 12 plus games. There has to be for like that's why you sign Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, is because you're like, I have to win at least 9 games and have a winning record, but maybe get to 10 and get into the playoffs. And yeah, I don't think there's any scenario that you can argue realistically there at pick 3, unless they're using that pick to trade for another established quarterback in the league, that is going to improve Brian Dable and that organization's chance of doing that.
The trade element is interesting, but once again, when you start looking, it's like, who would you even target that you're saying is worth giving up the 3rd overall pick? Like, nobody's trying to do that. If you have that quarterback, I'm cool on that pick. You can have 2 of those picks. I'm good.
Right. If someone like Matthew Stafford was, 30 years old again and was still available, you would consider something like that. But yeah, there's no one realistically that you're going to be able to do that with.
And I would say no, because even with that trade, you had to include a Jared Goff.
That's exactly right. It's a great point. That's a great point.
Let's not act like he just went for some picks. You sent him a Super Bowl starting quarterback who was also number 1 overall coming out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, too? I think you could apply some of that same logic a little bit to the Browns and Kevin Stefanski. Like, he's been to the playoffs. He's won a playoff game. He's been an NFL Coach of the Year. But they have got that. Cleveland's looking at this thing, too. They've got to take a step forward this season. And
but see, I still feel Cleveland's situation is drastically different than New York. You look at Cleveland's situation quarterback-wise, there's no reason why should be in any conversations that they've been in the past 4 years. But that's why Stefanski's been the 2-time Coach of the Year also. Dable had a quarterback that they decided to pay $100 million to. He also but he made him a Pro Bowler. His first year down there, Daniel Jones went to the Pro Bowl.
And they won a playoff game, didn't
absolutely.
they?
So let's not act like it was terrible, but that was when they thought they had the guy. Then they paid him the $100 million afterwards and released him a year later?
Year and a half.
So to me, that looks more like you guys thought y'all had the answer. We committed to him, and then we had to say we made the wrong decision. And while we made that wrong decision, we had to see Saquon Barkley go over here and win a Super Bowl while also setting the record for rushing yards in his total season. And we're over here just twiddling our thumbs, got our wide receiver basically saying internally, man, we are a disaster. Cleveland, the only nonsense Cleveland has had has been just the handling of the quarterback position, and not for lack of trying. It's just we don't know what happened to Deshaun Watson post Houston. Last time he was on the field in Houston, he led the NFL in passing yards. He was a bona fide top 5 quarterback in the National Football League.
Yeah, MVP candidate.
Cleveland swung for that. Everything looked like that would be the, okay, now take all this other stuff you've been doing and take that next step. But we've seen what that looks like, to the tune of the owner even coming out and saying, what? Yeah, man, we made a mistake. We swung it. It ain't hit. It's like, he still works for you, right? Yeah, man, we swung. It ain't hit. So I just think with Stefanski, he has time, because I think they're looking at that situation and saying, man, we went all in, moved on from Baker. And this wasn't a Stefanski decision either. When you talk about giving a guy the most guaranteed money in NFL history, moving on from Baker Mayfield at that time, who we know was good, not great, but Baker even had them heated. Remember, won a first playoff game with Baker, beat us in Pittsburgh. So You throw all of that in there, and it's just like, dang. All right. What if we could get that quarterback situation figured out? All right, cool. But I just don't think that they looking at this draft class right now and saying that we have that guy. Unless Cam Ward isn't taking one
I was
overall,
gonna say that would be
that's the
interesting
only
if the
way.
Titans go
Yeah.
if they go Abdul Carter or something first.
Right. Yeah, but I'm like, I don't see them doing that because they need a quarterback so bad. And it's like,
They're
man, if you need
probably
they got
more
that
willing to be
bad,
they're probably more willing to be patient with one of these quarterbacks as well too in Tennessee.
I mean, they've lived with Will Levis for a little while. You know, when you at mayonnaise, man, it get like that sometimes. All right.
Yes, and they've made a coaching change recently. There's probably still, a little bit of a, how do I want to say, like a longer leash there, if you will, a little
Oh,
bit.
so you telling me they haven't figured it out either? Oh, all right.
Yeah, they haven't figured it out either. That's
They ain't
basically
figured it out
that's
either.
basically-
Gosh, all right.
That's
Sounds
basically what I'm
good.
saying.
I don't know why you be trying to give these organizations the benefit of the doubt. Not everybody is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not everybody operates with like wisdom, patience.
No, you're
a
actually
plan.
right.
Some people are just in the moment. Who's the hot name? Who's the hot player? Just go get them. I'll figure everything else out. And that's why a lot of these teams out here look the way that they look. And we will clamor over them because they're the hot, trendy thing in the moment. But when you just look at it over the course of 3, 5, 10 years, you're like, bro, why would I want that? Oh, but because I feel so good today. Yeah, and then you got all these other years of feeling absolutely terrible about yourself. But hey, if that's what you want, man, take that temporary feel good moment, I suppose.
I want to feel good today. Instant gratification, Arthur Moats. I'm a millennial, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's where I wanted to start today. I thought that was, interesting that it's starting to feel like there is a wide sweeping consensus of who the top 3 picks are going to be a week away from today. But let's do the thing on the other side. Let's get into it. If you are new to this show, you might be. Listen, we're on YouTube now. I think we're picking up more listeners that way. And I just like to think that the course of, throughout seasons and things like that, we're always picking up new members of the megawatts and the power grid here on this program. We do one mock draft a year, really. Maybe sometimes 2, but usually just 1. That's about it. We are not huge mock draft people. Well, we're going to do that. We are going to break the ice. The Steelers Blitz. You don't have to call it version 1.0 or 2.0, or some of these people are on version 57.3 at this point. Let's do a little mock draft action when we get back on the other side. See how that top 3 to 10 range plays out. And then obviously who could be on the board for the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 21. We'll get to all of that. Keep those tweets rolling in. Wes Uhler, Arthur Moats. It's the Steelers Blitz on the Steelers Audio Network.
This is the Steelers Blitz with Wesley Uhler and Arthur Moats on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, SNR.
Back on the Blitz here as we roll along, getting closer and closer. About a week away from the 2025 NFL Draft. Of course, first round Thursday, second and third rounds Friday, and then we close this thing up with rounds 4 through 7 on Sunday. It'll all be happening in Pittsburgh about a year from now. And boy, that will be a lot of fun, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. It is time now for your one, your only Steelers Blitz mock draft. So I gotta ask, do we do the top 3 that we just talked about here? Titans taking Cam Ward first overall.
I mean, I'm asking, are we doing this in the sense of you're picking for them, or are we just talking about them?
Now that's a very good question.
just out of curiosity here.
That's well, since we just had this conversation, do you want to go ahead and we'll take those top 3 since that's just what we spent the opener talking about? Does that make sense from that perspective? Let's do that. Works. So Cam Ward, congratulations from Miami to the Music City. You are a Tennessee Titan. First Miami quarterback taken first overall since Kozar? Testaverde? Was he first overall?
I think, right?
I think you're right, yeah. He was a Heisman Trophy winner, right?
Yeah.
Cam Ward.
Ken Dorsey didn't get, he wasn't that.
It was not, correct. Cam Ward, first overall to Nashville, where they are building a brand new stadium in the next couple years that will maybe one day be called the house that Cam Ward built.
Boom! I saw the Commanders building a new stadium.
Are they? Wait, where's it going to be? Maryland? Virginia?
No, DC.
DC?
No, they're in DC. Yeah, heck yeah. Like right downtown.
Okay, so yeah, because what I think is happening is not to get too far on a tangent here, but
Yeah.
I think the Nationals and the Capitals are moving a little south, like outside of the city. Um,
Smart. I mean,
and so
it's
I think they're going to redevelop that area for
yeah.
the Commanders.
To say well, actually, no. They said that they're supposed to put it at the old RFK Stadium.
Ooh, that'd be sweet.
Yeah,
That's a cool
yeah.
location. That's a
They
cool
said they're
spot.
supposed to put it there. They're gonna
Okay.
tear it down because it's supposed to be like a, I think, 5-year plan or something like that. Where they got to
Okay.
tear it down,
Sure.
then they're
Sure.
gonna put it back over top. Yeah, I was like, ooh, all right, that might be halfway decent.
So
Yeah,
do you know is RFK still there? Like, is it still? It hasn't been
yeah,
imploded
yeah.
yet.
They're saying it's still
Okay.
standing. Yeah, yeah. So they're
Okay.
saying they got it. That's what they're saying. It's gonna take like 5 years to do it because they got to
Sure.
tear it down. Then after that, start building another one. Yeah, I was like,
All the
all right, dog.
permits, all the
Mm-hmm.
everything. That makes
Yeah.
that's a
And
long
it's DC
process for
too. I'm
sure.
like, bro,
It's a
you're
long
talking about
process.
in the heart of it. Like, oof.
A lot of Grateful Dead history there at RFK
Hey
Stadium.
now.
We'll
Hey
we'll
now.
save that. We'll save that for another episode at another time. Travis Hunter, sorry, buddy, but you are a Cleveland Brown. Although, hey, Colorado, Cleveland rolls off the
Yeah.
tongue nicely. Got that going for you. Travis Hunter's going to go to the Browns, and then
And you gotta remember
Abdul.
too, and I think you gotta remember, we look at the Brown situation very differently than Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter went to Jackson State and had them on ESPN. Travis Hunter then went to Colorado and had them on ESPN and won the Heisman. I don't think Travis Hunter care about what anybody said about any team. He's like, why can't I go do it again? Nobody said Jackson State or Colorado. Think about that, man.
No, that's a great point.
No.
And
They
he
looked at the
was
place like,
he
are
was
you
the number one
serious?
recruit coming out of his
Coming out of
class.
high
He
school.
could have
Yes.
he could have gone anywhere,
Come on, man.
and he went to Jackson State.
He's like, oh, y'all said Cleveland. Okay. Act like y'all don't know who I am. Bet.
He's like, I'm about to do what LeBron did and put this
All
place
right.
on the map.
Oh, all right.
You have the Travis Hunter big banner on the side of the stadium like they did. All right, I'm getting too far ahead of myself.
I'm about to say, don't you speak that evil today, man. Stop that.
Yeah, because I mean, I like Travis Hunter, but I don't want him to
I
be
don't like
nearly
him
that
that much.
good
Heck
because,
no.
yeah, no, let's not do that. Abdul Carter, congratulations in New York, Jersey,
Uh-oh. Hey
with
now.
the Giants. Another Penn State stud going highly there, defensive stud highly in the draft, third overall. Okay, so the New England Patriots on the
Mm-hmm.
clock at number 4, thinking that they are, or at least they are in the stage with Drake May where they're gonna play this thing out, right? It is his job now. They're gonna let him see if he can be the dude there long term. I think there was some encouraging signs from last season, but obviously you wanna see him do the thing. What are you thinking here, Moatsy? I mean, could this be the first offensive lineman? Like, is this a spot? Could we see a Will Campbell go here?
I mean, people talk Will Campbell here. If you, I mean, New England, you have to protect Dig on Drake May, man. You have to. So to me, I'm going with it just to play it safe. Not to play it safe per se, but more so just to make sure that I have somebody that can protect him. Because
Protect your
I'm not about
investment.
to go. Yeah, because I'm like, okay, I could go Ashton Genty, but at the same time, I already have Ramondre Stevenson. So I feel good about that situation. I paid Ramondre on top of that. I could add to the wide receiver room, but that still doesn't answer my O line issues. And I could also go D line as well, man. Mason Graham, if I wanted to, shift that around. But man, I'm leaning into my quarterback. You just drafted Drake May. When, he was the first rounder. Was that a year ago,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he was first rounder last year. Yep.
Yeah, last year. So it's like, okay, let's try the Joe Burrow effect, right? Or not the Joe Burrow effect. Let's try the Josh Allen effect. All right, I got my quarterback. Let me go get me a left tackle. Let me go be a Deion Dawkins real quick. Somebody that can protect him. So go Will Campbell, man.
Chargers just did this as well too. Let's get somebody who could protect Herbert. They went and got Joe.
Think about it, they
Alt.
did it back to back. They did all, and they did Slater.
That's right, they did. And I think you're right. Like, you could say Genty would be a great piece for any offense, but you're already paying Ramondre Stevenson a lot of money. Wide receiver. If you thought that there was a Jamar Chase sitting here at pick 4, I
Right,
think
who you going to take? Tetsuo McMillan, Luther Burden at pick 4?
and I
You're
like those guys, but not at
not
pick
at
4.
pick 4. Hey, come on, man.
If I thought, if this was Marvin Harrison Jr. coming out last year, maybe it's a different conversation. But yeah. So Will Campbell from the Bayou to New England, first offensive lineman off the board there at pick 4, the tackle from LSU. Now we go back down towards, from Bayou Bengals now to Jaguars across the state lines there over. Well, I guess we'd have to go through Alabama and then Georgia and then get to Florida. Whatever, you get it. All right, we're staying in the South. It's the Jags on the board here at pick 5. Team needs defensive line, tight end, corner, offensive line, wide receiver. We still have Mason Graham on the board. We still have Ashton Genty on the board. Shador Sanders, all the wide receivers. Somebody like Tyler Warren.
I mean, what you thinking? Me personally, I like D-line, but what you thinking?
I think Mason Graham too.
Mm-hmm.
He's a disruptive force. To get him at pick 5. It also feels like a pretty safe. Like, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of bust potential with this guy either.
Well, and the thing too is like you need a wide receiver. Who are you drafting at pick 5 at wide receiver? It's the same conversation, right? You're not about to take a tight end at pick 5 right now. I'm trying to even think who, because Tyler Warren, I'm like, I don't even like. I mean, like, he's nice, but I'm like, top 5 pick nice. I don't.
No.
Go there. Could go running back, but I already got Etienne down there, and I have the other back. I'm jumping. Bigsby, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Is it Bigsby? It might be Bigsby. I want to say
right. That sounds.
But I say, but they're doing the whole tandem thing. Not tandem, but he's the guy who offsets Etienne.
The clear number 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mason Graham to me, I'm going best player available at that moment, man. That makes the most sense.
Best player and fits a need.
Yeah, and I still like the corner from Texas, but it's like, once again, this to me need this a little bit more, man. Show up that D-line, man. Show up my front 7, man. So give me Mason Graham. Let's not overthink it.
I think you're right. I think this is one of those, let's not overthink it. He's one of the best players available. He fills a position of need. From Michigan to Jacksonville. A lot of these guys going from the south to the north or the north to the south. Culture shock coming. Weather change on the way. Mason Graham to the Jags at 5. So Cam Ward 1, Travis Hunter 2, Abdul Carter 3, Will Campbell 4, Mason Graham 5. Now I think is when it starts to get interesting, when it starts to get fun. The Raiders, they just hired Pete Carroll, old school mentality. More old school mentality. They just gave Geno Smith a contract extension, got their quarterback. Could we see Ashton Genty land here? Running back at 6?
Is that the guy you want?
I think so, just because it'd be a lot of fun to have him as a Raider, wouldn't it? I mean, it just feels like it fits. Like the fast, athletic, home run hitting running back.
So you don't want him in Dallas, though?
I mean, that does feel like a fit, too.
That's more fun. That's more money, too. That's star bright.
That star is real bright. That star is real bright. I mean,
Star's nice.
I guess
Star's really nice.
I don't think. I know some people have thought, could this be a landing spot for Shador Sanders, and then you let him sit for... I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Certainly, we saw Kirk Cousins get a bigger contract, and the Falcons did that with Michael Penix. But I don't think that's going to be.
Don't lie like that. You said it wouldn't surprise you, so none of us were surprised when Kirk Cousins got that deal, and then they went and drafted him. Okay, even Kirk Cousins himself said, "What?" I called him like, "Yo, what are y'all doing? What is this?" So no, let's not act like that's normal. If they were to draft Shador after paying Geno, we're going to look at them and say, have y'all lost your mind too? Have y'all not just saw what the Falcons did and why the Falcons are trying to figure out what to do with Kirk Cousins right now? Because what? You can't move guys that have this much guaranteed money that is definitely your backup quarterback. And we all know this. I'm not giving you anything for him. Sit there and take all that money. Otherwise, give it to me on a super duper discount. I hope the Raiders ain't trying to do that. Once again, I can't act as if everybody makes good decisions because
no doubt.
We're talking literally about a decision that was like, I get insurance policies. Even if you knew you were gonna take Penix, did you have to give Kirk 100 guaranteed? Geno has was it 60 million guaranteed the next 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all want to do that?
It'd be one thing if Gino was a year into this contract already,
right?
Then it's way
I'm
different. Like, it would be a thing if Kirk Cousins was a year or two into that contract already. Then it's way different. But when you just gave those guys that money to go and use a top 10 pick as well, too, it's just not smart asset management or I think really development for your most important position.
And then when you hit on this draft pick, like the Falcons feel like they've hit with Michael Penix, now you're screwed. It's like you almost got to root against your draft pick. Hey, don't develop too fast. No, I want you to develop, but then when you develop too fast, now I'm screwed. Like, no.
Do we make a Steelers blitz pick here and go Jedi Barron out of Texas? Because corner's a pretty big need for the Raiders too.
You like that corner?
I do.
You like them inside outside dudes, huh?
I do, and you've convinced me. You've been on Jedi Burton since we started this process. And I like Will Johnson out of Michigan a lot too, but some of the injury stuff concerns me a little bit. And I think this one, listen, Barron's going to be a first-round pick, without a doubt. I think at 6 might surprise some people, him going that high, but doesn't that also feel like a Raiders thing to do?
Yeah, but I mean, he's athletic as heck, man. He's a good player.
It's their profile.
Yeah. It's just, when I always think of him versus Will Johnson, I'm like, Will Johnson to me is a bona fide outside corner, and his, no guesswork is going to transfer. The thing with Jedi is just like, all right, you a little bit smaller. Are you going to be able to live out there? But I love his versatility, man, so I'm down with that, man. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We'll make our first Steelers blitz pick, and we will take Jedi Barron, corner from Texas. He is going to look good in that silver and black, I tell you there, at pick 6. Going to take a break here. Going to take a break here. The New Jersey Jets on the clock. The Saints coming up in a couple picks. Will they Shador? Will they not Shador? We'll get into all of that as we roll along.
It's getting real. It's getting real.
Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
This is the Steelers Blitz with Wesley Uhler and Arthur Moats on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, SNR.
Final segment here of the first hour as it is Steelers Blitz mock day here as we close down this week in April. It will be Easter weekend, and then it will be draft week. What a time to be alive here as we are certainly getting into springtime.
And it's allergy season. Shout out to allergies. I still get excited.
I've been taping my mouth shut at night, though, for the last couple weeks, and my allergies haven't been as bad now that I've been breathing.
So you tape your mouth shut?
Yeah. Have you heard about this? Have you seen? You want me to do my Jay Leno thing? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Mm-hmm. So this is kind of becoming a popular thing amongst the health crowd. Taping your mouth, there's specific tape that you can buy that's made for your mouth and doesn't, it's
you
not
being serious? I thought you was on some freaky stuff, bro.
I'm being dead serious.
I thought, because
serious as a grave.
I know you was about to make another baby, so I thought y'all was getting a little wild. I'm like, yo, y'all tape me, bro. This is this is enough. All right.
It's because when I sleep at night, I start breathing out of my mouth. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I did it mainly because now that I'm older, and I'm sure part of it is what you and I do for a living. We spend a lot of time talking. Mm-hmm. Dude, I was just every morning I was waking up dry mouth, sore throat, chapped lips. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a rough look in the morning. I could dig it. Yeah.
And so for the last 2.5 weeks, I've been taping my mouth shut at night so that I just breathe out of my nose. And dude, I feel so much better. Better with allergies. My throat and my mouth feel better. I've barely been using any chapstick. I normally put on chapstick every morning and every night. Yeah. So
Let's go.
Shout out to the mouth tapers.
How nervous were you the first time you taped your mouth and went to close your eyes, man?
Very, very. Yeah, not gonna lie. The first couple nights I was a little nervous. But I'll tell you this, you'll get a laugh out of this. Mama, please. My oldest daughter is at the age where, she gets out of bed and comes into our room in the morning type thing. And she's still when she sees me, and it's been 2.5 weeks, and when she sees me in the morning, she dies laughing every time. Like she thinks it's hilarious. She thinks it's
Dad,
hilarious.
what you doing,
And I
Dad? What
have
you
tape.
doing?
She just comes in. She just comes in and points. She just comes in and points at me and laughs. You're so silly, Daddy.
Like
Yeah,
y'all over there playing ransom, huh? Y'all over there playing kidnap. I dig it, man. I like it. Do you tape your wrist up also when you go to sleep at night? I'm just asking, you know.
only if I have to call plays in the morning.
Let's go.
Get my play sheet ready to go so I can get out of bed and hit the ground running. Arthur Moats, we are running in our mock draft Steelers Blitz edition here, 2025, a week out. The Jets, another year of turmoil. They are at pick 7 in this year's edition. Team.
Do you think this is where Shador goes?
I mean, no. They didn't give Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins type money like we were just talking about. But I think that they are firmly into letting this thing ride with Justin Fields this season.
No, this has to be it, right? Come on now. Because otherwise, where is Shador going to go? So this has to be where he's going, right? The Jets have to be taken right here. Have to.
I think that, is this time for another offensive tackle? Is this time for Armand Membo out of Missouri, maybe?
So you like Membo.
Or Kelvin Banks out of Texas, I could be convinced.
Yeah,
offensive tackle, big need.
I mean, no, they need offensive line 100%. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, look, yeah, Justin Fields, get him another weapon. Devontae Adams is gone. Get him somebody. Get him somebody to throw it to him.
So I don't hate that. Like I would think about a wide receiver. This is the range where I'd start to think about a wide receiver as well too. And that is certainly a need, as you mentioned. Devontae Adams no longer there. Everything is basically a need for the Jets.
Because to me, I'm like, I would go with the receiver right here. He's very toxic, and it makes me very nervous to put him in New York.
Luther Burden the third.
Yep. Why when I said he's very toxic, that's the name. I didn't know. It's just like, yeah, bro. You can say what you want in the interviews, bro. The tape don't lie. You got too much on tape showing you are wilding out, bro. You are first team all crash out. We know what it is. Young George Pickens. All right. We got George Pickens crash out highlights coming out of Georgia. We know what this is, man.
And Justin Fields got a year of experience with that guy, so let's do it.
But I think he's nice as heck, bro. And I think that he would be a heck of a weapon. It's something that would actually help Justin Fields out. Because with Justin Fields, yes, O-line matters, but I'm a little less worried about that because of his athletic profile. That was the Chicago Bears approach. But I don't think Chicago did a good enough job of actually getting him weapons that could complement his game. And when I look at the Jets, I'm like, you got to run it back in Breece Hall. You feel good about him. You got a Garrett Wilson over there. You feel good about him. But with you losing Devontae, you need another guy. And it's not like we look at Fields and say he's this prolific passer that's going to sit here, read every route, let everything develop. Nah, he's the first read. Then after that, you can use some mobility. He can extend, but he also can weaponize his legs. Get him another guy that is going to be able to extend plays with him. Luther Burden, to me, fits that perfect, almost AB Big Ben-ish. But like I said, way more toxic, way more like things to get into being in that Jersey tri-state area also. And yeah.
Hey,
but that's why I'm like, I kind of dig that vibe.
I was just out in Vegas a few weeks ago with my lovely wife.
Shout out.
Bet big, win big. I mean, aim big, hit big, aim small, hit small. I mean, I'm not trying to bet small.
The Cincinnati regret going Jamar Chase over. At that time, it would have been Penei Sewell, right? But just in the concept of, do they regret going dynamic playmaker wide receiver to pair with young quarterback? Absolutely, because that was a sticking point. We were saying, if you do this, you better be saying this quarterback and receiver are going to be God tier, because your O-line is atrocious, and this prospect has proven, even now after being drafted, has proven to be a heck of a tackle in this league. So when I look at the Jets, I'm saying a similar thing. I can go and get me an offensive lineman to protect my guy, but I'm still going to be limited trying to produce with this guy. Or I can go get him a young guy that can roll out and roll with him, and we can say, man, let the chips fall where they may. We'll figure the rest of this stuff out. Maybe round 2, round 3, we go back into the trenches. But right now, let's go. Let's go get it. So that's kind of my approach with it. But
I,
I'm open to whatever you
no,
want, man. I'm open to you right now, man.
I'm with you. I like it, and I like risks, and honestly, that's what we see in the draft. That's what this is all about.
I mean, you
Uh,
technically took a risk when you gave Justin Fields 2 for 40 with 20 million
and
guaranteed.
anything is a
You're
risk. You
doing
know
that
what
off
I
this,
mean?
but you're
Like,
doing that off of the 6 game sample size that you just saw him have with us.
and you want to give
So
that guy weapons. You want to give that
yeah,
guy
put more
uh,
around
uh,
him.
put more around him.
Yeah.
So from Arthur Nathan Moats III to Luther Burden III, congratulations,
Mm-hmm.
you are a Jet. That puts the Carolina Panthers on the clock at pick 8. They need a corner. They need offensive line help. They need secondary help. They need an edge rusher. They need wide receivers. They need a little bit of everything. So we go to that defense, which at times has been one of the few things that they've had going for them, Arthur Moats. And we add in
Mm-hmm.
there. Are we saying, you know what? Bryce Young, he really showed some signs last year. We need to, give this guy some weapons, give this guy the same conversation that we just had with Justin Fields, surround him with some help and some talent. Ashton Genty is still there. Some talented wide receivers are still
Mm-hmm.
there, but a guy like Will Johnson also still there. How are we feeling about the Panthers here at pick 8?
So me personally, for the Panthers, I like Will Johnson, or I kind of prefer wide receiver over going running back. And
Yeah,
my
I
thought
agree on
process
that.
is this: running back, I feel like, man, is going to be a struggle just because Carolina isn't enough of a threat throwing the football right now vertically. It's the same conversation we've had the past couple of years with us. And Genty is a smaller back. He's not a Najee Harris. So I don't think that will bode well for him. Will Johnson, I like a lot. And since Jedi Barrett is already off the board, I'm like, I'm going to get me a guy that I can pair opposite of, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on my man. Sorry, J.C. Horn, this down
J.C.
there.
Horn. Yep.
Because remember, who was the corner the past couple years before then? He was with
Dante
us last
Jackson.
year, Dante Jackson. So now you replace that with a guy who profiles extremely well to play opposite of J.C. Horn. And from there, later in the draft, you spin the block and try to get you some more offensive talent. That's kind of my approach with it. But if not Will Johnson, then I'm looking at the wide receivers and I'm saying, all right, you've had a Adam Thielen down there who's a good player, but we know obviously on the older side, he didn't get chosen. I don't think he had chosen down there. I think chosen was already gone by then, aka
Okay.
Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson. Yep.
But like
Chosen.
as a whole, he had Deontay Johnson for a little bit, right? Then they moved off of him mid-season. So I say, okay, man, maybe you go with a Tetera McMillan, or maybe you go to Matthew Golden right here to give him another actual like weapon to throw the football to. Because when you look at Carolina right now, offensively, we say Bryce Young. You heard me mention Adam Thielen. Then I'm talking, all right, you want to Chuba Hubbard? That's
Chuba
your next
Hubbard.
like impact player. You see what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
No, you need some help there.
it's not enough on offense, man. And your quarterback hasn't proven that he's a force multiplier enough at this level either. So I'm trying to get him some help, man. I invested a lot in him just 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
I'm getting him some help, man. And I
I
thought
agree.
Deontay Johnson was that help, but clearly that didn't pan out. So big receivers typically are easier for young quarterbacks because they got, big catch radiuses. They make it more, forgiving. You don't have to be perfect with me. So that's why I'm kind of back and forth with that, man.
Yeah, I am on the same page with you there. I think we could see a couple wide receivers go here, towards the back part of like close to more so in the back half of the top 10 is what I'm trying to say. Tet McMillan, the guy here, you mentioned that big body, wide catch radius, or do you maybe want a Matthew Golden with a little more
Well, I was gonna say, like,
speed?
who do you prefer, man? Because they're different. Like, obviously,
They
Matthew
are.
Golden is I'm vertical down the grass running by you. Tet McMillan is more of that like Mike Evansy,
Mm-hmm.
big, finessey, not really a dominant
Drake London.
comeback. Yeah, so it's like a little bit different type of game with him, but you see the production.
Yeah. I think I would lean towards Tet McMillan for the young quarterback and for Bryce Young.
Yeah,
Does that work for you?
heck yeah, man. Give me my new Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans tandem.
Oh, baby, Tet McMillan. He'll
Uh-huh.
stay from warm climate to warm climate. The Arizona wide receiver at pick 8 to the Carolina Panthers. On the clock now, the New Orleans Saints. Could they take Shedeur Sanders? That's where we'll start in hour number 2. On the other side, we will go through the rest of these picks up to the Steelers and get to a couple of your tweets before we get out of here in hour number 2 as well. Wes Uhler, Arthur Moats. It's the Steelers Blitz on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good afternoon, Steeler Nation. How we doing?
Oh, I feel springy.
You and me both. The sun is shining, as it always does in Western Pennsylvania. We know that. There are very few non-sunny days here in Western PA.
Gotta love it here.
Hour number 2 of the Steelers Blitz. If you're just joining us, if you missed it, it's kind of our mock draft day here on the Blitz. We are on pick number 9, the New Orleans Saints on the clock here. Arthur Moats, Shedeur Sanders, Derek Carr injury. Do the Saints go? Kellen Moore as well too. I think that's important to put in this conversation. Kellen Moore, new head coach in New Orleans, not the same kind of Brian Dable type urgency that we've talked about in some of these scenarios. And I think it's important to note a lot of the quarterbacks that he's worked with in the past of his NFL career as well too. The Dak Prescotts, the Jalen Hurtses, the Justin Herberts, more of these quarterbacks who have arm talent and have mobility that you can use as part of their game as well. Does Shedeur Sanders feel like he fits in New Orleans?
Shedeur would fit in New Orleans, yeah. That's not the question. The question is, do you want to spend the 9th overall pick on a guy who on paper should not play for the next 2 years based on the restructure that you just gave to Derek Carr? It's about to count for dang near $80 million, bro.
And might not play. That's the crazy part.
Over the next 2 years, yeah. I'm just like, I'm looking at the deal. I'm like, that's a lot of money. You ask yourself that. Because once again, who do we just start the conversation when we were talking about quarterbacks and drafts and what you don't want to look like just from a year ago? Who same division now that I think about it, huh? What was that team? You said Atlanta?
Falcons.
You said them Falcons did something? Huh. Now, slightly different because, like we say, he's already under contract, but with them just doing the restructure in March. It wasn't like this was 2 years ago. It wasn't like it was a year ago. They just restructured him.
Like last month.
The big change was the report about the shoulder. That was what really sparked the, whoa, okay, now definitely New Orleans. But prior to that, New Orleans had committed. They said, we are giving, push it to the front. The next 2 years are yours. I personally don't see the long or short-term logic behind pushing all of this money to the front for the next 2 years of Derek Carr if I wasn't going to go out there and actually get him something that's going to help him or help this team. That move doesn't say I'm being patient. That move says I feel like I got a guy who's good enough and maybe I need another piece. Maybe I need another 2 pieces. So that's why for me, I'm not the big fan of drafting Shedeur here if I'm the Saints. The only way I'm doing that is if I know for a fact Derek Carr is not playing this year. And then on top of that, I'm taking him to court. And you know why? Because you supposed to have told me this about this shoulder when I was doing this contract a month ago. Duh, no, we don't get to go through all the negotiations, restructures, and all that stuff. And now that the deal is done and we're, a week away from the draft, now all of a sudden you got a shoulder injury. Now all of a sudden you need to have surgery. So it's one or the other here, man. But to me, I'm taking the faith of them believing that Derek Carr will be ready to go. Because otherwise, why do you give him the restructure? If you don't think he's going to be ready to go, you allow that deal to play out. You're drafting Shedeur anyways. Yeah. Because what has changed? Nothing would have changed. If you were a Shedeur guy, you were a Shedeur guy regardless. But the Shedeur guy doesn't mean you go and restructure your quarterback to push all this money to the table for the next 2 years. And now we're saying, okay, Shedeur, if you beat him out this year, what are we supposed to do?
Not have the cap space to build around you like we would like.
Like, you're not going to cut Derek Carr this year. Like I said, he would have an $80.132 million dead money hit if you cut him, even if that was pre-June 1. You don't want to do that. Then next year, right? Say next year you let it live. And you're like, all right, I'll cut him next year in 2026. $59.670 million cap hit.
Lord.
2027, you get to the voided years, thank God. But guess what? In 2027, with the voided year, he still has a $40 million cap hit, even at that stage of it. You're just like,
not great. Wouldn't call it great.
But that's because you just did the restructure. You essentially made it a new contract. So you tell me, does that scream, I want to take a quarterback? Does that scream, yes, let's get this quarterback right now. This is the guy we want. I think this makes the most sense at 9 overall.
No, it does not, Arthur Moats.
I'm not going to act like everybody makes great decisions. I'm not. Because I've learned that, hey, when you assume that everybody's going to make good decisions, that part you do get wrong on occasion, all right? Not everyone makes good decisions. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So could they do this? Yes, they very well could.
Sure.
Do I think it's a good idea? Absolutely not. And is more so because of the fact that they just put all that money in Derek Carr's pocket now.
Yeah.
And now I'm pigeonholed. If he doesn't work, I'm screwed having this big balloon contract that I can't move off on, because who's giving up a valuable draft pick when I know I got to pay this guy what he's got to get paid? That's why Kirk Cousins can't get moved right now. If Kirk Cousins' deal was $20 million less, you would have been had him traded. If it was $10 million less, you would have been had him traded. But you can't pay him that much money and then expect me to want to give up a first, a second, or a third. It's like, absolutely not. I'd rather go take my chances with one of the first, second, or third draft picks.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I'm just like, I don't know, man.
I think it's fair, and I think especially when you consider, like, there's still a lot of names here that would fit needs for the Saints as well. Like, it's not like they're going to look at their big board at this point and go, well, all the guys that we had narrowed down are gone. Like, Ashton Genty, I think, would look really nice down there.
I was about to say, you know what that running situation would look like? You have Genty and Kamara there. Come on, bro. What? Because you're already trying to move off of him because he's older now. He's phased out, and we know this. Now it's time for you.
Similar kind of skill sets.
You're like, hey, Kamara, it's time for you to be Mark Ingram now. Or it's time for you to turn into Mark Ingram. Remember, you at one point you were Alvin Kamara and you had the Mark Ingram. Now you are the older veteran guy. This year, young guy that's going to help you out, man.
Ashton Genty to the Saints?
I love it.
Let's do it.
Personally, I do.
I love it too. I think he'd look good down there in New Orleans as well.
I would say because if we didn't go there, then I was going to go with the tackle from Missouri.
Yeah. Membu, yeah.
I was like, it's one or the other.
Could be a possibility. Yeah. But yeah, from Boise to Bourbon Street, Ashton Genty.
Hey,
you like that one? Hey,
I
NFL
like
Draft, don't steal that if that happens.
I like what you did
Credit
like
Wesley Uhler of the Steelers Blitz.
That was smooth. Even though I'm mad because I wanted Genty to go to Dallas personally. I was trying to get him to Dallas, man.
I know you were.
Hey, I was like, God dang it, man. Don't you want to take tackle? We could take a tackle. You want to take a tackle here?
Well, speaking of Membu and speaking of a tackle, if he's still there, is that the pick for the Bears at 10? Talking about a quarterback.
Obviously.
I think so. Look. I think this one's pretty easy.
You put all that money, all that stock into
you got a
Caleb.
wide receiver. You got a quarterback.
You even got a running back. You feel good.
Yeah.
Like, invest, protect your asset, man. I don't hate the double down approach the same way like you talked about with the Chargers. Back-to-back drafts going tackle. I don't hate offensive line, man. Go protect your assets, man. Especially when you know you have the guy.
Yeah, completely agree.
Or at least you feel very confident that you got the guy. Yeah.
Sure. You're going to sink or swim with that guy. I think Armand Membu out of Memphis makes a ton of sense here to the Windy City and to help Caleb Williams not have to run like a chicken with his head cut off a half a second after the ball is snapped. Number 11 now. To the Bay we go. San Francisco. Defensive line help, corner help,
They need everything. They need everything. They need a wide receiver.
Could Will Johnson go here? Could Matthew Golden go here?
I mean, shoot, you could go D-line as well.
You absolutely could.
But I say, because that's the boy at A&M. But I say he's one of those fits that bill.
Shamar Stewart, you think?
Yeah, that one. He's one. So. Shoot, do you flirt with offensive line?
Maybe, but I think I like what's left. I think I like what's left on the defensive side now more with this group.
I would agree
that we've had a couple offensive linemen go off the board here in the top 10.
Yeah, I would agree.
You want to go Shamar Stewart? I like that pick. I like that fit for them. Yeah. Nice running mate for Bosa out there.
I was about to say he's their like big body type of, long 4-3 edge.
He fits that Niner profile.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's go there. Let's go Shamar Stewart. out of Texas A&M to San Francisco at pick 11.
To
The 11th,
San Francisco.
the 12th man, Texas A&M at pick 11. Sorry, that didn't work out as well as my Boise State and Bourbon Street one. Now I'm just trying too hard. Now on the clock, a pick near and dear to Arthur Nathan Moats III's heart. It's the Dallas Cowboys. They need a running back. They need some help on that defense, that offensive line. They could take a corner. They could take a wide receiver. What do you like here for the Cowboys, Moatsy?
My favorite running back outside of Genty in the draft is Amarion Hampton, but everything's bigger in Texas. So let me get Matthew Golden on top of it. I'm doing nasty work over here. I want Dak to have another weapon. I need Dak to have something to air it out to even more, to go across with CD Lamb and company down there with that star being bright. And we're going to sell a lot of jerseys too. So Texas, you're staying in Texas, all right? But we're just going from, was it Austin to good old Dallas. All right, so shout out.
I think that one would be another one that would fit. That would make a lot of sense. He fits the profile of a Cowboys receiver. I like how decisive you are with that one.
Yeah, Wes, I felt a little guilty if I took 2 running backs in the top 15 picks, bro.
Yeah, because as much as we would like to see that, I ain't gonna be there.
2 back in the top 15, bro.
Unless you're cloning Ashton Genty, I ain't gonna be there.
I can't take 2 of these dudes in the top 15 now. What we doing, man? This ain't 10, 15 years ago.
We're trying to at least have some symbolism of professionalism here, okay?
They can be like, ain't no way. Genty and Hampton in the top 15? Oh, come on, man. Y'all gonna cut it out. 2 top 12 backs? All right, sound good. Is this Madden?
That's exactly right. You have to be careful not to do the Madden thing when you're doing this, because it ain't real life.
No, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get running back, another running back. Yeah. Like, are you sure about that? No,
okay,
man.
We'll see how this works out.
No. Because this is thing called business and contracts and like return on investments and longevity of the asset. Yeah, man. Yeah. You don't take a lot of the dudes early.
Let's get one more in here. The Dolphins at pick 13. Call that Dan Marino heritage right there. Ayo. Get it, because he wore number 30. You get it. You're smart.
Come on, bro. You know I'm with you.
This is another team that could go in a lot of different directions. I don't know if you saw the reports in the last 24 hours that they're shopping Jalen Ramsey, which if they end up trading him and Will Johnson's on the board, maybe that's a...
Hey, Wes, you said they're going to trade him to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, my God, we're getting Jalen Ramsey next. Let's go.
Hey, Darius Slay, Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., you can cook with that.
We got the money. We ain't paid a quarterback just yet, so we can afford it.
Of course, Beanie Bishop Jr. out of West Virginia University as well, too, in that secondary.
Now that makes him the like most elite dime 4th corner rotational slot ever. Shout out to Beanie Bishop. Come on, man.
I think Will Johnson would be a real possibility here to the Dolphins. I also think, again, like there's a lot to like still on that defensive front, which is a direction they could go as well. Is it Will Johnson, though? I mean, that's another guy that feels like a Dolphins pick.
See, I personally thought you were going to say Shedeur Sanders here.
Now, see, that is very... And I like that, Arthur Moats. Because, again, one of those situations where you've got a quarterback who's been paid, but he's been under contract long enough now that this time next year it wouldn't kill you to get rid of him.
And injury history and injury
obviously, risk. We know that there is some reasonable concern there about his long-term health.
I could sell it on a 1 year.
Ooh,
Tua, come out here. This is your year to prove it. This is your year to cook. Shedeur, you're learning behind him in year 1, but you know you're talented, so be ready. If Tua can show that he's healthy, great. Then I feel, I'll cross that bridge when I cross that bridge in terms of, do I want to extend, restructure, or move in a different direction and allow Shedeur the opportunity a year from now?
I'll also go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. But I was like, there's also the scenario where we've seen Tua the past couple of years now have really nasty concussions where he's had to miss a substantial amount of time. You don't want to go back into a scenario where you're starting Skylar Thompson in the wild card playoffs against Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills. That happens when you don't have an adequate backup. You don't want to have Tyler Snoop Huntley as the Pro Bowler Tyler Snoop Huntley as your quarterback for extended periods of time due to Tua Tagovailoa being unavailable due to injury. So this is honestly where I do heavily consider Shador. And I think if you're Shador, you would thrive in Miami. Like your box office, your big city, bright lights, and that gives you that as well. But it isn't as loud as New York. It isn't as loud as some of these other places that we've mentioned where it's like, man, heck,
Dallas.
even if you come to Pittsburgh, Dallas, it's like, yo, these are loud football cities. Like Miami, they're nationally important, but locally they're not. It's too much going on.
Too much going on. It's like the Southern California vibe. If our sports team stinks, who cares? The weather's beautiful every day. Life's great. Let's go to the beach.
Right. Yeah. And so that's the part where I just think for Shador, I'm like, watch out for Miami. I'm not as concerned about New Orleans largely due to the contract like I talked about. I feel like when New Orleans and Vegas did what they did with Geno and Derek Carr contractually, to me, that took Shador off the board based on where they're picking at. With Miami at 13, now you're not saying I'm on a top 10 contract type of situation. I'm in them teens here. I feel like I got a little bit more time. So I look at that. I look at obviously a Will Johnson if they were to move on from Jalen Ramsey or potentially trading back. But to me, I'm like, Shador could be weird right here.
I like that a lot. Also, too, because I'm looking at his contract. If they cut him this year, there's a $99 million dead cap. But next year, Arthur Moats, they have an out that would be a $34 million dead hit.
And you still would have a quarterback on a rookie contract.
And like you said, not a top 10 pick rookie contract.
Exactly. So it's a lot cheaper. You feel great about your weapons around him as well. Even if you move on from Tyreek in a year from now, you still have a Jalen Waddle. You still feel like you can draft another receiver that can come down here and play. And the difference between Shador and Tua is what? We've seen Shador have to play in Colorado. The knock on Tua is when it gets cold out, that offense and him specifically, they struggle. Shador has proven that he can play in Colorado. He can play where it's very cold at. And I'm sure that they have some confidence in him for that. And he's a Florida boy in the sense of where he was initially, going to go to college. It was supposed to be, was it FAU? I want to say. Excuse me. I want to say, was it Florida State? Yeah. I'm about to say, I think so. It might have been Florida State. Yeah. But initially, that was where he was supposed to go before the whole Jack State movement and everything like that. So you feel confident about him being able to play in warm weather. I mean, everybody plays well in warm weather. That's not an issue. But to me, I just think that could be intriguing right there. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it.
I like Shador Sanders here too for all those reasons, and just because if we get to the Steelers and he's on the board, we're going to take, like we've both said, if he's there, pick 21, you take him. So I think it'll make it more fun for this exercise if he's not available when we get to the Steelers.
Well, yeah, because if the Dolphins don't take him, you tell me of the next
trades up to get him. Yeah,
of the next 10, actually the next 20 picks from Miami to the rest of the draft. Which team are we legitimately going to say? Colts, who just drafted Anthony Richardson 2 years ago, top 5,
Browns
and then turned around
in the second round, but
right. We're saying first round though. Like they just also brought in who? Daniel Jones getting $14 million to come in there. The Falcons, you're for certain not touching them if you're the Falcons. The Cardinals with Kyler Murray,
chance.
no. Bengals with Joe Burrow,
Nope.
no. Seahawks, you just gave how much to Sam Darnold? How much? Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield. He's gonna look at you and be pissed off with you. You draft a quarterback at 19. Baker's walking in here pissed off. I know Bo Nix and the Broncos and your boy Sean Payton. They just moved on from Russ for your boy Bo Nix. You think they're gonna move on from Bo Nix now? Stop it. So now here we are, black and gold. And if not us, do you think the Chargers are gonna take him? Who's that quarterback they got out there by the name of Justin Herbert? Oh, what about Jordan Love with the Green Bay Packers? Yeah, for sure they need a guy. Oh, the Vikings who just said, hey, Rodgers, we didn't even want you to mentor our guy. We got J.J. McCarthy. We're rolling with him. I know the Texans aren't about to touch him with C.J. Stroud. Maybe it's the Rams. Matthew Stafford. I know we could get you another weapon, but hey, let's get you a understudy. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo. He probably ain't going to beat you out in year one, but let me just get you a guy real quick, all right? Baltimore? Is it Baltimore with Lamar Jackson?
Nope.
They just brought in Cooper Rush as his backup on top of that. Maybe it's Jared Goff with the Lions. The guy that didn't take them to the NFC Championship game, the dude that had them being a 1 seed and all the other stuff. You know what? It's Washington. Jaden Daniels, for certain, he wants Shador on the roster. Absolutely. And I know Buffalo, the league MVP, Josh Allen, the reigning league MVP, you know that type of dude. He for certain would love to have a quarterback drafted as the 30th overall selection. Mahomes for certain needs another quarterback in his quarterback room. And I don't know if you heard of this Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP. Where's he? They got cheesesteaks there.
Hurts
Philadelphia.
So
yeah, that guy. Yeah. So where exactly is Shador going to go?
Well, for this exercise, he's going
You see what I mean?
13th overall to the Dolphins
Yeah,
because it'll make it
yeah.
much more fun when we pick
Yeah,
at 21
bro.
for the Steelers.
Because I'm like, people
like this.
act as, but think about how people talk right now. It's like, oh yeah, it's a foregone conclusion. Shador can't go down. Shador's like, it can get very weird in a hurry. Very
a lot
weird in a hurry.
a lot of these teams, especially once you get out of the top three,
very weird in a hurry.
Have or at least think they have their quarterback. It's a weird place to be in that regard. We got to get to a break. We're way overdue. Penultimate segment on the other side. Colts on the clock at 14. I think that there is a very makes sense fit here. We'll get through that. We'll get up to pick 21, obviously, too. Give our Steelers selections. Get to a tweet or two of yours as well before we get out of here. All of that and more as we roll along. It is the Steelers Blitz.
This is the Steelers Blitz with Wesley Uhler and Arthur Moats on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, SNR.
It's mock draft day here on the Blitz, and we are getting closer to the Steelers at pick 21. It is the Colts on the clock right now at pick 14. And Moats, Tyler Warren here has to be the pick, right? I mean, you're going to have Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson, a quarterback who's going to need some weapons and is trying to figure it out this year. Sometimes I feel bad, like it gets, I think, the same connotation as like game manager quarterback, which you and I have laid out many times. We don't think is an insult, but it kind of has the connotation of an insult. But like, I think Tyler Warren is a very safe pick. I think he's going to be a solid football player for a long time. A position of need for the Colts as well, too. They got nobody there, really. Is this where we see Tyler Warren go off the board?
I like it. I mean, you think about it. They've enjoyed tight ends, man. The past, I mean, from Ebron to Mo Alley Cox to, I'm drawing a blank. It was another kid that was out there, but like, that's their thing, man. So bringing in a Tyler Warren, it should, in theory, help out Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones, man. It's a great safety net.
I think so, too.
Player, too.
Yeah, I think so, too. And, from the Penn State blue and white to the slightly different shade of blue and white for the Colts, Tyler Warren there, where he played the Big Ten championship game.
Okay.
How about that? In the
out.
Lucas Oil Stadium. Tyler Warren to the Colts, I think, would make a lot of sense at 14. That's the way we'll go. 15, it's the Falcons on the clock. They need a lot of defensive help, Arthur Moats.
No, get him a quarterback. Get him a quarterback.
All right, Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe, where we go?
They like quarterbacks.
You're funny, man. I feel like Will Johnson would be a really nice fit here. I feel like Jalen Walker out of Georgia would be a really nice fit here. Mike Green from Marshall would be a nice
Me
fit
personally,
here.
I like Mike Green. Give me a West Virginia small school, man. Let's switch it up a little bit, man.
Yeah,
give them Thunder and Herds,
it's weird
man.
Because Marshall's like, it's a weird. I'm trying to think of what the dynamic is. I know that there's other one of these around college football, but like, I've got no beef with Marshall. They are a Division I school, but not a Power 4 program. They've never beaten WVU in football in the entire history of the two programs. I like to see Marshall do well unless they're playing WVU in basketball or baseball or, whatever. But their fans just have this inferiority complex with WVU, and it drives me nuts. It drives, almost like, I don't know, like maybe like there's like FAU in Miami have this maybe or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to root for you, but like stop coming at my neck. Stop acting like, like we are equals in this ecosystem together, because we are not. But I like Marshall. I've had family members that have gone to Marshall.
My
Mike
little brother
Green.
with the Marshall. We are Marshall.
Good movie. Mike Green there, Adam Marshall, 15th overall, and I'm sure I'll hear it from all my family. When was the last time WVU had a first round pick, huh?
Oh, that's what they're. Oh,
It
yeah.
was
Okay, I definitely dig you. I
it
see
was
what you
Carl.
are.
It was Carl
Yeah,
Joseph actually a decade
yeah.
ago.
I see what you are. I see.
Got a
I see
lot.
what
We had a
they are.
handful, a couple second rounders since then,
Yeah,
but not a first
Gino
round pick.
though, man. Yeah, hey, they ain't had
It's
nobody
all right
nicer
though.
than Gino. How about that?
I let them have their
Yeah.
fun. Zach Frazier going to be a better pro than Mike Green, even if he goes in the second round and Mike Green goes 15th overall. Good pick though, and I like Mike Green. I think he's going to
Ooh.
be a good NFL player there at
Mike Green played
15th
the
in the
sexy
Falcons.
position. Just remember that he played the sexy position, man.
He sure does. He sure does. Falcons on the clock here at 16. This is another interesting one. They could go a lot of different ways.
No, we were just talking Cardinals. Cardinals at 16.
Or Cardinals, sorry, pardon me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, we just talking Falcons.
sorry. We
Yeah,
just did Falcons, Mike Green,
yeah,
Adam Marshall. Um, Cardinals could use an edge rusher. They could use defensive line help. They could use another playmaker for that offense. I mean, Jalen Walker's still there. Colson Loveland's still there. Derek Harmon is still there. Ooh,
Cardinals are very interesting to me.
yeah. I mean, they could go Jalen Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. Could they go Tyler Booker? Could we see a guard go here? Is this maybe still a little too high for a guard at
I feel
16?
like that's
Probably.
high. I feel
I
like that's
agree.
very high.
I agree.
I
Mikael Williams, edge rusher out of
I was about
Georgia
to
here.
say I like Walker. I think
Yeah.
Walker.
You think Jalen Walker?
Mm,
It makes sense. I mean, they need a linebacker.
yeah. But it's saying I mean, I feel a lot better about him transitioning his game to the next level than when I think of like last time they swung early on a off-ball linebacker, Isaiah Simmons, how it didn't
Isaiah
really hit.
Simmons. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like Simmons was still a little bit more positionless at that time.
Clemson played him all over the place.
Yeah. Whereas I do feel like with Jalen, he's a more box oriented, and you have a little bit more defined what you're trying to do with him. So yeah,
I
I would
agree.
like that. I would go Jalen Walker, and he's talented as heck, man. Jalen
He's
Walker's a dude that can go back in that top 10 too, man. Like, yeah.
very talented.
Yeah.
They could use. He's got that personality type too that they could use in that locker
Hmm.
room and in that organization. Let's go Jalen Walker out of Georgia to the brief former stomping grounds of Arthur Nathan Moats III out there in
They go
Arizona.
they match the colorway. Everything in the house is like black, gold, red and black, red and blue. As long as I gotta have my little holy trinity of colors.
17, boo. The Cincinnati Bengals, boo. Who again, team needs, just list every position on defense and you're basically covering it. Will Johnson still available. Derek Harmon still available. Malachi Starks, Mikael Williams, Jihad Campbell. I mean, a lot of different ways that they could go here. Is this where Will Johnson finally goes off the board, Cincinnati?
If Cincinnati doesn't want to continue to try to outscore teams 60-55, I would go Will Johnson. But if I'm feeling janky, boy, don't you dare me, because I'll do it. I'll draft a Matthew. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Omari and Hampton?
I'll get a receiver. I'll do it. I'll get another one. I'll do it. I don't care.
You want to see me do it again?
Yeah, want to see me do it again? I'll do it. But a running back doesn't hurt. Just remember that. Running back does not hurt here.
I think if they could get Will Johnson, who might end up being the best corner in
you
this draft,
better
at
go
pick
Will
17,
Johnson, though. You better go Will Johnson.
I think that's great value for a position of need. Again, everywhere on the defense is a position of need. It's a little bit of a oxymoron there for the
What
Bengals.
about pass rusher? Because you still ain't figured that out.
True.
One of your guys retired, and one of the other dudes wants a new contract, and you haven't got him that deal just yet.
As long as he's still on the roster, I'll go Will Johnson, corner out of Michigan.
He's still on the roster right now because it's just the time period. Like, well, man, be careful now.
I would have really liked Mike. I mean,
better be
not really
careful
liked,
now.
but I think Mike Green would have been a nice fit for the Bengals, but unfortunately, he is gone. Or fortunately, depending on how it works out for
Yeah.
us. Let's go Will Johnson, pick 17 to Cincinnati.
Let's do it.
Number 18, the Seattle Seahawks. They could use a lot of O-line help for their new highly paid quarterback. DK Metcalf is gone. They could use another weapon for their highly paid quarterback. Kelvin Banks, tackle out of Texas, still on the board.
You still got Membo, Missouri.
No, we took him to
Where did he
the
go?
Bears. Remember at pick 10.
Oh, okay, good call. I was gonna say, he's on the board. Okay,
Yeah, to protect Caleb.
Yeah, so perfect then. Yeah, so Calvin Banks makes sense then.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I say because either him or Simmons from Ohio State.
Him or Simmons from Ohio State, but I think I would lead Banks slightly. So let's go Banks from Texas. Man, that's a couple of Texas guys going in the top 20 here, I tell you. I mean, they were in the college football semifinals, so it makes sense. Good team. Number 19 here, Tampa Bay, the Bucks. They could use some help in the secondary. They could use an edge rusher. They could use defensive line help. Does Derek Harmon go here? Oh, man, I wouldn't like to see that for the Steelers. Mikael Williams out of Georgia here, edge rusher.
Ooh,
how we
you
feeling,
right.
Mosey?
He's still on the board.
Williams is still on the board.
Yeah, go
I
Williams.
think so too, because they could use an edge rusher.
Yeah.
I think he profiles well to what they would ask him to do. Let's go Mikael Williams here at pick 19. He'll stay in the South. He'll go from Georgia to Tampa Bay as the Bucs continue to invest in that defense. And then number pick 20, the Denver.
And then number pick 20,
the Denver Broncos.
Let's do it.
Can we, Omarion Hampton right here? I mean, I'm just saying.
They need a running back. They need running game.
They do. I mean,
you also need line help too, though.
If this played out this way for Denver, it would be very.
I think
intriguing.
they go Omarion Hampton though,
because you would want them from a Steelers perspective to go Omarion Hampton, because then it's going to leave you. I mean, not that I think the Steelers would consider him at pick 21 as well, but it would leave the Steelers a lot of options there. They also have some crossover with some. Could they be interested in some guys the Steelers are interested in too? Man,
yeah.
I think though, like Omarion Hampton would make a lot of sense in that offense with Bo Nix, with the way Sean Payton likes to run things. You want to do that here? We want to make that pick here for pick 20?
Let's do it. Heck yeah.
I think so. I think he would look really good in that offense. Ooh, Omarion Hampton from North Carolina is going to go pick 20 to the Denver Broncos. That leaves, folks, our Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock here. Okay, so here's where we're at. Here's what I want to do. For dramatic effect, we're gonna break. Okay, on the other side, we'll give our Steelers picks, our thoughts on the scenario, the options that they would have here. Get to one or two or a couple tweets before we get out of here as well. But just to set the stage for you one more time before we go to break. Here is the pick, or the top 20 picks. Cam Ward to the Titans, Travis Hunter to the Browns, Abdul Carter to the Giants, Will Campbell to the Patriots, Mason Graham to the Jags. That's the top 5. Jedi Barron to the Raiders, Luther Burden III to the Jets. Stink. Tet McMillan, back-to-back wide receivers off the board. He goes 8th to Carolina. Ashton Genty, run on offensive playmakers, offensive weapons here. He goes 9th to the Saints. Armand Membu going to protect Caleb Williams in Chicago at pick 10. Shamar Stewart goes 11th to the Niners. Matthew Golden, 12th to the Cowboys. Shador Sanders, 13, Dan Marino heritage, to the Dolphins. Tyler Warren, talented tight end out of Penn State, goes to the Colts. Mike Green to the Falcons at 15. Jalen Walker to the Cardinals at 16. Will Johnson to the Bengals at 17. Kelvin Banks Jr. to protect Sam Darnold out there in Seattle. Mikael Williams, he is going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 19. And Omarion Hampton goes to the Broncos at pick 20. We'll have the Steelers, our selection, on the other side, and close down the program with some of your participation when we return. Arthur Moats, Wesley Uhler, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
This is the Steelers Blitz with Wesley Uhler and Arthur Moats on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, SNR.
Final segment here of the Steelers Blitz and your Pittsburgh Steelers. Doom, 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 doom. On the clock with pick number 21, Arthur Moats. Here are some of the top names left on the big board. Colson Loveland, talented tight end out of Michigan. Derek Harmon, big dog, defensive tackle out of Oregon. Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia. Nick Amenowori, the safety from South Carolina. Tyler Booker, guard from Alabama. Jihad Campbell, linebacker from Alabama. Josh Simmons, tackle from Ohio State. Walter Nolan, defensive lineman from Ole Miss. Emeka Ibuka is still on the board here. Jackson Dart is still on the board here. Jalen Milrose still on the board here. Kenneth Grant still on the board here. James Pierce Jr., talented edge rusher out of Tennessee, still on the board here. Mozi, interesting because Shedeur Sanders not there, but still Jackson Dart, still Jalen Milrose, still quarterback considerations to be made. A couple of those defensive tackle names that we've talked about the last couple months, I think particularly Derek Harmon out of Oregon and Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss, both still there as well too. You've kind of had Emeka Ibuka still there, but other than that, a run on some of the top end wide receivers. I think either of the running backs that you might have considered at this position no longer there in Hampton and Genty, obviously. So do you have a name that is jumping off the board to you here at pick 21?
Yeah, I knew as soon as the board fell the way to the field who I was picking. I will go ahead and make my pick for myself, and then I'm sure you might have a very different pick. Sure. But if the board falls like this, I'm taking Jihad Campbell. Inside, outside, extremely productive, great length, can rush the passer, physical against the run. I already got two athletic pass first linebackers in Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson. I lost Landon Roberts. That's my first and second down option in the box. But I also need somebody that can still dance on the edge and can get after it if I needed to keep him on the field on third downs, which he does do. But that also gives me leverage on who. There's a guy that was putting out social media posts that had peace signs surrounding contract negotiations. I can get myself some protection. Because now I'm saying to myself, if anything gets weird with TJ, with contract, with holdouts or potential trade down the line, I feel like I still have me a guy that can absolutely ball while still having an Alex Highsmith, while still having a Nick Herbig. But I can also still utilize this guy on defense in the middle of that field too, stopping the run, man, which we struggled to do at times last year. And I think he's a heck of a player. So when I'm thinking of him versus a Derek Harmon, I'm like, yeah, I think Derek Harmon is a baller, but I think Jihad, to me, is a better baller, but position of need. So to me, I always think of that, but also think of Coach Tomlin, and he loves linebackers, specifically SEC linebackers. And we know he doesn't mind tapping in and drafting those guys and drafting them again and drafting them again. And when you're thinking about it, he'll even take another one. So that to me is why I would go Jihad Campbell if the board fell like this, where my quarterback option that I really wanted is gone. Both of my running back options that I really want are gone in terms of Genty and Hampton. So that's why I take that approach with it. But I'm open. I'm definitely open to a lot of things right here. But that's how we roll.
Arthur Moats, I did not expect that from you. I like that logic. Man, though, would the heads explode of a sizable portion of the fan base if that was another linebacker? What are we doing?
Hey, look, the same fans that complained about the Baltimore Ravens ran for 200 yards on us in the playoff game. We couldn't stop the run. The same fans that say, man, we got this defense. Why this defense don't show up at there? Why this defense? Where was it at the end of the season? Where was the run defense? Why we ain't got nobody that can make a play? That same fan base. Yeah.
I am with you on that. And again, I in fact, I was going to say I don't hate that logic from you. I like that logic from you. But I would go Derek Harmon here, I think.
Yeah.
I just,
like I said, you can't go wrong either way, man.
I think too, particularly at this portion, like the back half of the first round of the draft, I think it's hard to find interior, like hand in the dirt defensive linemen that are reliable in both phases of the game. And I think that's Derek Harmon. And I would, knowing that Cam Hayward is still playing at a high level, I also know that Father Time is the only person who's undefeated other than the chefs at the Steelers cafeteria on the South Side. So I'm doing the
Yeah,
googly eyes at the defensive line there, and I'll go Derek Harmon. But I like how we have the
there
difference
it
here
is.
to end it for the good conversation.
Yeah.
Mozi, here's what I want to do to round this thing out. We have a few tweets, but you know what? I want to save those for next week because we really only have like a minute here till we have to go to break.
Oh,
We'd probably only
fair
be able
enough.
to get to one tweet anyways. Let's save them for next week.
Okay.
But during the show, we had a pretty significant announcement to the football world. This has nothing to do with the NFL or the Steelers.
Oh, yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
not
yeah. I
Aaron
need to talk
Rodgers
about.
related.
Yeah.
Okay? Lee Corso just
Uh-huh.
announced that he's retiring. 38 years of kind of being one of the faces and the voices of college football, the headgear, all that. And you and I, we like to give props to people in this business that kind of paved a different route. Sports talk and TV and radio for so long, it was buttoned up, it was stuffy. Like people talked about it like it was life and death, and like people's health was on the line based on what team won. We like these people that made sports fun. And man, for college football and all that, Lee Corso was a huge part of that. So big salute to a legend on his way out.
89 years old, man, living his best life, getting after it, man, and did it the right way too, man. No scandals that I know of. So shout out to that. Ignorance is bliss. I'm gonna keep mine like that.
If there is
About to
a
say,
scandal, don't
if
tell
there is
us.
anything, don't tell me. Yeah. Let's say so. I rock with him heavy, man. Heavy.
But yeah, you know how much I love college
Yeah.
football and everything. And I mean, my childhood Saturdays was like if we weren't going to Morgantown for a game, I was plopped on that couch watching College Game Day, baby.
Yeah, and I always say like my experiences in terms of Corso is different just because of me
You played.
playing. Yeah, so it was like you don't get to watch a ton of College Game Day, but you know Lee Corso, you know that's such a big deal, such a big name, and if they're doing anything where they mention your school is crazy, man. I just think of just the different times post my collegiate experiences, man, where College Game Day has done certain things where it was like, oh, this is pretty cool, man, and you get a chance to just see how knowledgeable Corso is about all the different schools. That's the one thing that stood out to me. Does his homework. There are some people in this industry, man, that are lazy. They, take the easy route,
Fake it.
all the time, and they fake it. And they get up there and, oh, let me sugarcoat this and let me say it that way. And this is, all right, smoke and mirrors. But nah, Corso actually, man, from my perspective, man, I thought he did an excellent job of researching, of understanding tradition, of understanding the different cultures that all these different universities, big or small, had. And I think that that's something that we can't always take for granted. And it'll be interesting to see, man, as just sports media or just media in general continues to evolve, how many more guys we continue to see that keep that going, to keep that tradition alive, man, because that's what separates the qualified from the non-qualified, the guys that will actually do the work, the guys that will actually show up and do it for 30 plus years and treat every show as if it was the first show. Most people, man, they want to come in here and act like, all right, if it's not 100,000 people checking out or watching it right now, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
Man, it doesn't matter if it was one person out there or 100 million people out there. Like, Corso is going to be Corso. And that's the thing that I always respect about him in this industry, because even with us briefly being in it compared to how long he's been in it, we've seen what that looks like. And it's not always that. So, like I said, man, big kudos to him. Ton of respect to him.
Yeah. No doubt. Well said by you, and I think that's a good way to close down this program. Thanks to all of you who have tweeted. Like I said, we will get to the tweets next week. Big show coming up Tuesday next week to kind of get us ready for the draft and everything, and what will obviously be a big week for the Steelers and the entire NFL. But everybody enjoy the weekend. Happy Easter. If you're traveling at all to see family or anything, make sure you are traveling safely. And joining us again here next week. Big thank you to the Power Grid and the Megawatts. And as always, a big shout out to the best co-host in the business, Arthur Nathan Moats III.
Oh, me?
Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. You know where to find us as always. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold.
Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.